Can you hear me?
Hi Lee, how are you?
You're right, my friend. Pretty good. I can hear you as well. So
Thank you so
everything's
much for
working.
joining this afternoon. Well, let's start. Last week you said that, in your opinion, Heathen Cross is the best Cloven Hoof album. So my first question is why? What makes it so unique for you?
Yeah, this one here just got some copies come through. It's really good package and everything. Yeah, I kind of set up a kind of criteria that the album had to meet. And I've sort of went sort of back out of my collection. I'm just going, what made those early albums more special than all the later ones? I still find myself going back to albums that I used to really love anyway when I first started listening to it, like sort of Made in Japan and Paranoid and Sabbath Bloody Sabbath and Led Zeppelin 4 and all these kind of albums. And I think the reason was they were really kind of organic. It's a proper band playing in the studio together rather than having everything sort of processed and pro tooled up to the hilt, like. And so most albums just get sort of made with this kind of really kind of stale kind of process kind of sound, like they get all they map out all the drums and everything's like dragged in to a click track with Pro Tools and everything. And I just feel like, well, that's kind of cheating. The bands in the old days never used to do that. And they captured like live energy and you could actually feel it, in the music, it's a real band playing with passion and energy. And I was thinking, well, why can't we make albums like that now? You can keep the production there, just make it well recorded. But I wanted to capture like the live energy because like when we play live, sometimes I think we're even better than on record, really. Like on a really good night, and when they get the sound right. So we went back to that, and I actually wrote the album with that in mind, really, to have that sort of more sort of immediate and let the sort of let the tracks kind of breathe a little bit more rather than putting too much in. So it's like what you leave out is just as important, really. So I wanted the obviously we're known for our sort of epic kind of songs. We've still got that there. Uh, and but the thing is, it's more kind of hard hitting. And I also wanted to go back to sort of our sort of demonic kind of first album to have it, more sort of like a cult and sort of mysterious like we used to have in the first place. So in a way, we were kind of visiting the darkness of the first album, but with more sort of modern production. And because I've got a fantastic, Harry Conklin's vocals are just magnificent. So I wanted to bring them out as much as I possibly could because he's got than all the other singers we've had that didn't have so much of. He's got that aggression, that sort of cutting sort of power. He's got a fantastic range, but he sings with sort of power and passion, and he's got the sort of a aggressive kind of power, which sort of fits him like with the sort of guitars. So we got a sort of a full such a full sort of metallic kind of sound. So I wanted sort of to capture like the sort of a cult feel of the first album, but with better production. And with Patrick Engels, he was going to be the perfect producer for us because Patrick Engels is a magnificent uh, producer, and the kind of songs that I sort of gave him on this album, I knew he'd love, and he did like right away. He went, "Oh my God, these are fun. I love every song, like." So everybody was really into it anyway, and so we went and we didn't just go in and like do the album because I normally go in like with my demo and I'll play all the guitar and the bass and everything, and somebody else will set the click track and stuff ready for the drummer to come in. But this time, we went and rehearsed it like the old days. So the tracks were lived in first before we went in the studio. So, so to me, that's why they work better than most of the other albums. I mean, we did Dominator like this, but we haven't made an album since. Like with everybody in the studio. I mean, the guitars, done at the same time and everything. So apart from going back in and just like tidying up some of the, you know, basically you play the whole track, and if you make any mistakes, then you just go and fix it. But it captured the performance this time. So I think for me and how well all the tracks work, for you know, I honestly think that's the best album we've ever done. It's got the best vocals as well. So yeah, I'm really pleased with this one.
Harry was already a renowned figure in metal due to his work with Jack Panza. How did your paths cross, and how did he become the vocalist of
Oh
Cloven
yeah,
Hoof?
actually, we met. It's quite a big the festival for Keep It True. It's been great for us because you know, I first met Harry when we were playing Keep It True, and Harry was there as a special guest for sort of Rock Scalibur was covering a Cloven Hoof song, and there was had like a sort of all-star kind of band like at the very end. So Harry was part of that, but you know, I didn't know Harry. He's kind of at the hotel, and he wanted a lift, you know, like kind of thing. And I said, hey, well, you know, why don't you come down with us? We'll take you to the show and stuff. And I got, you know, sort of got talking, and hey, this is a really cool guy, you know, like getting on really well. And then when he got up and sort of on the all-star thing, and he completely owned the stage. He was absolutely incredible. And you know, like later on after you know, we needed a singer because the problem was Brexit basically. You know, why we kind of stopped working with sort of George and Danny. Brexit was a massive mistake. We should never, you know, I was against it anyway, but it put the prices of everything up. So the flights and logistics of, you know, sending out albums and, you know, flying to gigs and everything, it was just so expensive. It just all the costs rocketed up. So in the end, we just couldn't afford really to have two people like based in America anymore. But the cool thing is with Harry's based in Greece. So that's great, you know, like you know, we can work within our budget, you know, to fly Harry in and everything. But yeah, Harry's lovely wife, she was a big, you know, Cloven Hoof fan. And so I emailed her and said, you know, like we look, you know, Harry would be a perfect singer for this band. I said, how about having a word with him, you know, like see what he thinks. And in fact, like 10 minutes later, she said he'll do it, you know. And so he didn't really need to think about it that much. But then we played Keep It True. And I said, well, just turn up and see how you feel. Come and watch us, you know, like see if you'd be happy doing it. He was waiting for us in the dressing room when we did Keep It True. And then he went out and watched the band. And he loved it. Yeah. And he said, oh, yeah, I want to do that. So you know, it kind of immediately clicked, you know, like, and you could tell like right away from the initial vocals that he was recording. He was doing the vocals in Thessaloniki in Greece and sending them back. They didn't need any coaching. They were like perfect, you know. You know, he's just so talented. So yeah, I mean, Harry, you know, like when you start off a band, you kind of imagine the sound that you really want, and Harry's got the exact voice I like. He's got the aggression in there, and he's got the fantastic range, and he can hit all high notes, and he can do everything in between. He's a great front man. So. Yeah, it's worked really well. So it was thanks to his lovely wife, really. You know, like if I didn't if I didn't send her that email, maybe I couldn't get in contact with Harry. But you know, I'm glad it worked out anyway. You know, he's a fantastic guy anyway.
Regarding the lyrics on the album, are any of them based upon a real story, or and maybe have a particular curious theme in your opinion?
Oh, say that again. The speakers on this damn thing. Say that again.
I'd like to know regarding the lyrics on the album,
Oh
are
yeah.
any of the lyrics based upon a real story, a true story?
Oh yeah. What is most interesting thing about the album anyway as well. What makes it extra special is for years and years the track on it, Sabbath Stones. It was I had that song lying around for ages. It could have been on the first album, but I you know, I love the progression and everything, but I could never find the right lyrics and everything for it. You know, and I was thinking, well, to do it justice, it's got to be like, you know, I've got to find the right subject matter, you know, like, and so I sort of I shelved it for years and years, and then I had this nightmare. I don't know I don't know what set it off, but I had this nightmare, and I dreamt we were making this album in Cornwall, and because I had a girlfriend who lived in Cornwall, and the church she showed me this is a real, you know, I want to see something really cool, and there was this church kind of village green, and there was these standing stones that would have been there. There was just like the spot, but no stones. And I went, so what's happened to all the standing stones? And she went to, well, there's a legend attached to this. And I went, oh, good. She said it was supposed to be that the seven sisters were dancing on the Sabbath day, and they got turned to stone by God. I went, that's fantastic. And what the vicar didn't like having them there. So the vicar had the standing stones moved and put behind this wall. And maybe it's because, you know, like I kind of filed that away. But when I had this nightmare, I heard the riff like from that song I did ages ago, and it was like, and it went Sabbath Stones, and I went, oh my God, you know, I woke up and I just like jotted it down right away. I started working on it. You see, I never write songs that way normally from a riff. I never do it. I always work from a melody line, and then I make the music fit. But this time it was like the riff and everything first, and then do the melody line on top of it. So yeah, you know, that weaved itself into the song. You know, I took the Seven Sisters and stuff in there for the Stones that was already part of the legend, and I kind of came up with a concept for like a Witchfinder, which is there. There's the Sabbath Stones, and you know, like I thought of kind of a storyline to do with that, but you know, the lyrics directly came from, you know, that legend that she told me. You know, like I don't know why I didn't think of it right away. It took a nightmare to make me think about it. You know. I told Chris Koss, the one of the guitarists, the next day. I went, this is dead weird, you know. Like I dreamt the lyrics for this song, you know, like, I did a demo and I sent it to him, and he got blown up. He was blown away. He went, "Oh my God, you know, that's great. I love it." He said, "You know, we just need an album full of those kind of songs." So yeah, it's thanks to the Sabbath Stones track really, and it was the start of the album kind of growing kind of thing. So yeah. And also, you know, like it's amazing where you get ideas. Like on the last album, Time Assassin, there's a song on there called Highwayman, and I used to take my stepdaughter to go to work. You know, like she's a singer in a holiday park, and there was this pub like off the main road. You know, it's called the Highwayman, and these lyrics just kept like popping into my head every time I sort of drove past it and everything. And in the end, we went and found out that it really was. It was on an old coach road, and it used to have highwaymen kind of frequent the place, you know, back in the like 17th century kind of thing. And it was cool. But you know, that song wrote itself like in my head every time I drive past. I'd get another idea for it and everything. And you know, I'm always on for getting the phone and singing into the phone. You know, because you'll never have that idea again. You know,
Yeah.
like I think I write most of Cloven Hoof songs really in the car. You know, when I'm driving somewhere, and just sing into my phone kind of thing. I'll be lost without it now. But
Being
yeah, you know, the ideas can come from anywhere.
being the only founding member still present in the band, I believe you are the one who calls the shots and makes the decisions, right?
Yeah, it's kind of always, you know, because I suppose because I've been there forever, really, and you know, like being as you know, and I sort of I write all the songs anyway, so you know, because I've been there that long, you know, people kind of sort of immediately identify me with sort of Cloven Hoof kind of thing. It's just because I've been here forever. That's what it is since 1979, and because I'm the only original member. I suppose that's why you know I get most of the sort of attention, I guess. But that won't happen now because of Harry, because Harry brings in a lot of fans as well. Yeah, so I guess so. You know, it's down to experience as well, isn't it? You know, it's like all those, you know, all those years over, what, 44 years of doing it. You know, like you know, you tend to make the decisions because, you know, like you're used to it. You know, after all the you know, all the ups and downs. You know, you kind of you know, now it all works now. I should know
And
what I'm doing by now.
but how were you able to maintain the sonic identity of Cloven Hoof with the many lineup changes the band has gone through?
Mm. Um, the one thing about us though, when sometimes when a band changes, if they got other writers, then the band won't sound the same because you know the other writers have gone. But in Clovenhoof, the writer never went. You know, like that's why we can keep our identity because I've always written everything.
Mm.
So the thing is, we're never going to lose our core sound because I never left. And you know, it's like you know, you know, apart from a solo, you know, if somebody's doing solos, then that's like their territory, you know, kind of thing. But in terms of all the melodies and all the progressions and the guitars and stuff, I've always written it. So, you know, we're never going to lose our identity. So basically, you know, as long as I keep writing, it'll sound like this, I
Do
guess, you
you do you consider yourself a cool boss?
Yeah, you kind of, you know, I don't even have to, I don't even have to say anything because people just look to me anyway, like what we're going to do now. It's like, they kind of look to me anyway. So, you
Yeah.
know, because I've done it a long time.
Cloven Hoof is a product of the new wave of British heavy metal. Could you tell us what were things like back then in the late 70s and early 80s?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. It was really exciting. You know, exciting times. You know, like I wish I'd have had more time to appreciate it because it was golden times. It's for the first time in history. You know, like in metal, that the music papers were actually supportive for British bands. So, and you know, everybody was wearing like denim and leather, you know, like and you know, the metal kids were everywhere on the streets and stuff. They really did rule, you know, that like during that sort of you know, late 70s, like early 80s. And it was magical times, you know, there's bands everywhere, you know, like and they were like an army. They just follow bands everywhere. So it was ideal times, you know, like and you know, it's a shame because like in England that they'll support anything but metal bands, you know, and especially British bands. They won't help metal but British bands at all. You know, they much rather because what happened what happened really was the journalists during that time they were honest and they used to write about what they really do like, you know, their real tastes, and they were proper metal fans, and it was, you know, it was based on their opinions and they really cared about metal. But what happened was uh these certain groups like took over all the major papers and they basically get told what to write, and it's all hype. It's just rubbish, you know, like, and it's whatever's in fashion this week, right? Then you got to say these are great. And it became like pop music, these magazines, really. They're pretending they're metal papers and they're not, because, you know, like half of them don't even know anything about proper metal at all. They just tell what to write and that's it. So it's wonderful, you know, like you go around the world, but that hasn't happened, you know, in other territories. Like there's fantastic papers like Metal Hammer, and you know, there's people like yourself and everything who love metal because you feel it in your heart. But that's not what happened in England. They kind of got taken over, and nobody respects the papers in England anymore because they know they're not true metal fans. Uh, so it's a shame. But back then, you know, it was magical times because they'd support you, and you know they you know they didn't require tons of money just to write about you. Like now, unless you advertise in their paper, they won't even write about you. So you know, in those days it was for the love, and you know, I remember like the papers like Kerrang. It started off really small little place, you know, like and small offices and stuff, and it was great, you know, like, and they're all metal fans, you know, with all the t-shirts and stuff, and they were totally into it. But later on, they moved to these great big swish posh offices, and everybody's wearing sort of suits and everything. I was thinking, God, you know, like, have you changed? You know, like, we never did. We stayed, we stayed true.
The stories of supernatural forces in the studio during the recordings of the first album have become somewhat legendary. How do you see that today? Do you think that maybe you were messing with wrong things at the time?
We had loads of weird things happen to us. Oh my God, the neat one. That was a nightmare. I mean, everybody who doesn't know sort of the first Cloven Hoof song, you know, the Cloven Hoof track. I what happened with that? I actually a girlfriend of mine, she was working for the library and she got me like real witchy spell from Book of Shadows. It was you know, the proper witch's rune. And originally, I'll tell you about that because it's just us. um, basically, I just had this guitar, you know, the spooky down 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 thing. So I showed it the guitar player, and I said, just play that. And I said, I'll just check it and check it out how it works. And anyway, uh, I was like reading out like this witch's rune spell, and all of a sudden, for no reason at all, his guitar sort of went, you know, from the it was on a stand and it just went on the floor, and he went, "Oh my God." You know, like he completely freaked out. He went, you finished that spell and that guitar moved. I saw it, you know, like, and he sort of, it just, I'm off. He just left the house, you know, like, and he went, "Have you seen this?" And then he came back about like 10 minutes later, knocked on the door, and I went, "What?" And full moon and the clouds going across the moon and everything. And he was absolutely terrified. And he went, "Will you walk me out?" I went, "What I was." So I did, you know, like, because he was too scared to walk down this like railway kind of thing. And I thought, there we go. But I got back to the house and I went, this is, it just, the house feels weird. So I put all the lights on, in the house. And I eventually went to sleep. And mom and dad got back the next day. They went, "What the hell is this? All the lights on in the house, you know, like, what are you playing at?" And I didn't tell them. So what happened was then, after, you know, we then got this guitar, this singer, and we gave him the lyrics, and he went home and he went, "You never believe this." Yeah, he said, you know, we didn't tell him because he'd think we were weird or something, but he said, "I think I just went over that tape, and I felt like something was holding my legs." And he went, "This is dead weird." I went, "Yeah, yeah." I said, "We've had something weird happen to us." He went, "Well, I'm not singing any more of that, you know, like, unless you cut bits out." So I got the witchy spell and I sort of cut it up a little bit, you know, like, okay, get rid of that, get rid of that. And then we played down a place called Holy Joe's, where Judas Priest used to rehearse
Mhm.
in Wednesbury, and it's kind of a church hall. And when we did this track, we got to the spooky bit, and the lights, the power went off, and we were completely in the dark. And in the end, the vicar turned up with his like candle. He looked quite creepy anyway, but he went to, "There's been a power cut," and he had a heart attack, you know, like, and he left the band. He went, I'm out of this. This is too weird for me." So he left. So I thought, okay then. And then we went up to Neat, and there was what's his name? God, the producer guy anyway at Neat Studios, and we tell him all this weird stuff. And he went, "Oh, fine, you know, like, you know, I've worked with Venom as well, you know, like, they had some weird stuff." And so we got to do the Cloven Hoof track. All the studio, it just quit, all the tape machines and everything. And he said, "You better go home. You better go home, and I've got to repair the studio." We went back home, and the studio, and it worked. The power came on and everything. And he went, "This is weird." He went, "Just for me, you know, that witchy spell, can you get rid of some get rid of some more lines?" So in the end, we ended up with this one, and then we went up to Nate and we recorded it. We did the track, and you know, and everything was sort of okay. We thought it was. And then we kept getting like weird things. Like when we played the song, we had our rehearsal room that was struck by lightning, right? And so the rest of the guys went, "We, do you mind? Because we don't want to play the track live." Because they were completely freaked out. So I went, "Okay." So for years we stopped doing it. So we stopped doing it because of all the weird stuff. And we bought the track back when we were playing in I think it was Valencia in Spain. And when we went backstage, and there's all these guys, he said, all these guys really want to meet the band. They've been waiting ages. Okay, it was like Church of Satan lot, and they turned up and they went, "Why are you wearing your cross that way around?" You know, like I went, you know, and so in the end, oh, little demons turned up. There he goes. Bang! This is not for you. I've summoned up the dog. And so anyway, they said, "Are you going to play the song tonight?" And I went, "Yeah, I know the one you mean. Yeah, so the Cloven Hoof track. We are actually the first time we played it and everything." And they said we'd have killed you if you didn't play it. And I thought, yeah, that's funny. But there's a few of the guys went, just as well you played it, because they probably would, you know. And the track went down really, really well. So then we started playing the Cloven Hoof thing in the set. And the problem was when we played, we did 2 back-to-back tours of America, and it's the same bit, the spooky witches room thing. We had something weird happen, like an amp would blow up or somebody break a string. And I was telling this guy when we were in New Orleans, Kit Ellerman, his name was, about all the weird things, just like the same things I'm telling you now, you know. Like, and he said, he said, I'm going to see you at Frost and Fire Festival in California. He said, so you know, like I'll go and check it out, see if anything weird happens. I went, yeah, you know, okay. So when we did play Frost and Fire, the most weird thing ever happened as well. I had the cross I was wearing. I felt when I was moving across the stage, and I felt like somebody like pulled my cross off. Nothing there. And I said to Joe, you know, the singer, I went, did you see that then? You know, like, and he went, what? And I went, oh, he went, hey, your cross is on the drum riser here. I went, yeah, okay. But he didn't see it, but Kit Ellerman did. And he went, your cross just like as if it's been ripped off your neck. So that was weird. So for the rest of the tour, because we were fed up with weird things happening, I stopped wearing a cross. Cross wearing a crucifix, and nothing weird happened. Then it was fine. So maybe the track doesn't like me wearing a crucifix. I don't know. But yeah, we've had so many weird things because of that song, you know, like, and it's still weird now, you know. So and I still won't wear a cross on stage.
Looking at the band, looking at the early band's photos, the 4 elements and such. Do you think there are any visual or musical aspects that you regret doing or that you think hasn't aged well?
There's one's a bit of a mixed bag, because like when we start off, you know, like one of my favorite bands, I can see them right now on the old Love Gun thing. When we started off, I had a really good idea for a concept, you know, very much kind of like Kiss with Fire, Water, Earth and Air concept. So each one of the band members, you know, like that was weird as well. It worked with the birth signs. I'm a Gemini, so I'm an air sign, and I was thinking thunder of the bass. Steve was Sagittarius, he was a fire sign, you know, that works with the guitar. What is it? Kevin was Taurus, so that's an earth sign, you know, so he got like earthquake of the drums. And Dave Potter was a Pisces. All all 4 of us, our birth signs, you know, because it's you're all an element, you know, like, and the elements sort of guide sort of the black magic kind of pentagram. Each point, it's fire, water, earth, and air. And you know, I was thinking, hey, that's really cool. So it's like in witchcraft, they you know use the power of the elements, and so I think that's a really cool idea. So you know, like, you know, fire, water, earth, and air. That's great for characters, you know, like, and we can do, it's like the Kiss thing, but it's more sort of mystical as well. So you know, I thought that's a brilliant concept, and I wish I'd have thought of it not then. I wish I'd have thought of it now, because you know, like the success of like Marvel Comics and stuff, and the way people can do it, you know, since CGI, you could have done that really well, you know, like you know, if I wish I'd have thought of that concept now, because you
It's
could have done it
it
just couldn't
was
you?
the right idea at the wrong time.
Yeah, yeah, it's right. Yeah, it's right. Yeah, you are right.
Okay.
And nobody's, and nobody since Kiss really have come up with anything like as sort of cohesive as that. That it's still a great idea. It really was. But yeah, like it's a shame. You need proper high-powered management to do it justice. But it was a great idea, and we did it then. So I regret that. I wish we'd have thought of it later on, because once it's out,
I
that's it,
was
isn't it, really?
I was expecting you to say that you regret something like the front cover of Sultan's Ransom.
Oh yeah. Well, the whole problem with Sultan's Ransom and those sort of albums was uh, it's the contractual stuff that ruined all of that, really. Because every time, because uh, we had David Hemmings, and he used to manage Judas Priest and Pat Travis, and he was fantastic. Well, when the opening ritual, our first EP, got into the metal charts, it got to number 18, and it was doing fantastic. So CBS went, that's it, like we want to sign them up, and it was, really sort of big time, really, like videos, and it would have been world tours, absolutely everything. But what happened? David Hemmings died. He died, and uh, it left us with loads of people reckon they owned a piece of the band. So everybody was suing us at the end, because they reckoned what they signed with, like David Hemmings, like they reckoned they had a piece of the band. So it caused no end of legal hassle. And every time we're doing really, really well, we just get sued by somebody. So what we decided after Sultan's Ransom, I went, this is getting crazy, like we it costs a fortune to deal with all these legal things. So what about if we like sit it out, sit the contracts out, and then we'll come back later on? And I just thought we'd only be out a year or something like that, but they kept renewing them, and it took years, about 8 years for our contracts to expire, to get out of that. And so as soon as we wanted to get back together, um, I really wanted to try it with the same sort of lineup and the guys. But people change, like, in time, and they didn't really, they weren't like the same sort of people as they were before. People's agendas change. And like Russ had gone off to live in Spain, and he was like doing other things, and he wasn't doing metal. So when everybody sort of came back, it just wasn't the same. They just weren't. I don't think I'd changed at all. Like I was still kept still writing and everything, ready for like when we came back. But everybody else, the agenda's changed, so it's a shame. And Russ wasn't the same old Russ. Like back in that days, he loved metal more than anything. It's all we all lived for. But like when we came back, he just wasn't quite the same, which was a shame. And I mean, we were best friends at the time, but he's that's all I can say, really. Uh, he sort of got depressed, he had a lot of depression, and he sort of stopped sort of really devoting himself to getting better all the time, like. And uh, it just wasn't the same. And it's a shame, because I lost a really good friend there, like. But at the end of the day, you can't make somebody really want to do it, and he kind of, like with a drink, he turned to drink, really, and it's a vicious circle at the end of the day. And it kind of sort of destroyed him as a performer, really. I did everything I could, like, to try and get him out of it, but you can only go so far. If you got a drink problem, you have to sort it out yourself, like. And so that's what happened. And it's a shame, really, because like he's got a fantastic voice, and he was like great on stage. But especially then, like in sort of 78, 79, you know, like he was incredible like them. And unfortunately, like when we came back, he just, you know, he wasn't quite the same. So it's a shame, but there you go. You know, at least we got the music, you know, like he's, you know, Sultan's Ransom and Dominator, it'll kind of, you know, it's captured him and that'll live forever, you know, like kind of thing. So you know, it's best everybody thinking about that, really, to be quite honest. But you know, at the end of the day, you know, he really didn't want to do it anymore. You know, and you know, that's his decision. You have to abide by it, don't you, really?
Do you
Yeah.
listen to anything other than metal at home?
So that again.
Do you listen to anything other than heavy metal at home?
You know, I'm the biggest metal fan anyway. I, I'm, I don't do anything else really. It's just like I'm either like listening to metal or writing songs. You know, like, it's all I live for, and that's a good thing. You know, it's like you know, all these years. You know, like Cloven Hoof's been going like 44 years. And I never lost my enthusiasm. I love metal just as much now as I've ever done. And I think it's such an honor to be able to still be making music after all this time. It's because we've got such really loyal fans, you know, like, and they kind of stuck with us over all these years. So we must be doing something right. But I just think we just keep getting better, and as long as we can, you know, keep making great albums. So you know, I'll do it for them because I don't do it for anything else, really. You know, the fans are everything, you know, and if they really love it, you know, if they really love what you do, then I'll keep making music for them. You know, when they sort of, you know, maybe they don't like the albums anymore, then you kind of stop. But you know, the albums are, you know, we've kept up the standard, and they've stuck with us all this time, and they still go crazy at the shows. So yeah, I'll just keep on doing it as long as I'll keep buying the albums.
And when will Brazilian fans be able to see Cloven Hoof performing live in the country?
Oh, you know, there's actually like talk about it. Sort of last year they went, you know, would you like to play in Brazil? And yeah, you know, like I'd come over in a rowboat if they, you know, I'd love to play Brazil. Fantastic. So I wouldn't rule that out because we've got a really it's classic metal label release our sort of albums in South America.
Yeah.
And you know, they were talking about, you know, sort of it would be really good. They get the right opportunity, you know, to get Cloven Hoof to play in Brazil. That'd be brilliant, you know. Like I'd love to do that, you know. So yeah, it's on my wish list. I definitely want to play Brazil and South America. It'd be brilliant because you know, I mean, Europe's great. We've done 2 headline tours like in America, and I loved America and loved everything. But you always want to play the places that you haven't played before. And there's 2 places I want to play. I want to play Brazil and I want to play in Japan. You know, I'd love to do those 2 territories because I haven't done them before. So that'd be brilliant, you know, like, and with you kind of spreading the word for us on there, you know, like you know, it'll help.
Yeah. It was truly amazing. I hope you enjoyed this conversation as much as I did.
Oh, thank
And
you so
as
much.
for my last request, would you please put horns up for the print screen? Yeah. Thank you so much, man.
Absolute honor, my friend. And, you know, we'll talk to you again, you know,
Sure.
and give my best to all the metal fans over there, you know, because they're the real deal. Take
Thanks
care,
so
my
much.
friend. Catch you
Bye-bye.
next time.